Okay, we did it. We did a thing. We pressed a button. It's here somehow. Okay, hello, my friends. I am here for you or whatever questions you have. I know I kind of always go off topic and do whatever I want to talk about. But just so you know, you can always message me your questions about singing and I will show up with an answer. And I will be here to support you. Hello, friends. Welcome. Come on in. Just getting on a little late. I have a bunch of things that I could talk about, but if you are here and you have singing questions, what have you been working on this week? Feel free to pop it in the chat and let me know. In other news, I'm kind of restructuring the, oh, am I here? Okay, great. In other news, I'm kind of restructuring Vocal Magic a little bit. So the next time you see a launch, the program will look a little different. Poor connection, why? Why do I have poor connection? That's strange. So yeah, just so you know, that is happening. So if you have any inklings to work with me this year, keep an eye out, put your antennas up for December or January, and that will be happening. Today, if you guys don't have anything in particular you're curious about, I have a couple topics that I want to cover. A lot of people message me when they come in here and ask me what they're working on, and a lot of it kind of falls into the same couple categories. A lot of the time it's about control, a lot of the time it's about how to sing high notes, a lot of the time it's about how to find your own natural voice, but it really, it all kind of falls under the same umbrella of why don't I sound the way I want to sound, finding your own self within your voice, as opposed to just copying other people and or not being able to do what other people can do in your mind. And so a lot of what I talk about most of the time is how to deal with that on a nervous system basis. And I do cover technique sometimes, but so much of it, you guys, the majority of you are not super beginners, right? The majority of you out there are people who have sung before, people who used to sing, who used to love it, who used to be in choirs, who used to be in musical theater, who used to write their own songs when they were younger, had a musical life at one time. And now you've come into adulthood and you're like, where is that in my life anymore? Something happened, life got in the way, a bunch of other things happened that made me feel like I wasn't a singer anymore. Now I'm trying to find my singer self again. And all of these things that you're looking for, how to have more control, how to have more breath support, how to find your better pitch, that all is within you. Even if you feel like you weren't a very good singer in the past, you still have the ability to sing at a pretty high level. Most of the time people come in and they sing for me in their trial lessons and they're like, that was bad. I'm like, you don't even know. That was really great and you sound lovely, and your pattern has just become to view all of the little imperfections as big problems. And so that is, I think, a huge deal for most of us who are here in this world as adults, trying to come back into our musician selves, whatever that looks like. We have turned it off and said no for so long that all these teeny little problems, maybe you're slightly flat on a couple notes, or maybe you can't belt as high as you used to when you were in high school and singing every day constantly. This is a normal, very small problem in my world. But to you, we build it up as huge, right? Because singing is your joy. It is your expression of yourself. It is a thing that you once identified with as a big portion of yourself, you know, and that is totally understandable why you have built up these really tiny problems of pitch and breath support as huge problems. And like, I need to hang out with you for like 3 years in order to fix all these issues, right? This is what a lot of people come in saying. But I also want to validate that. And I want to say, yes, to you, it feels huge. And that is absolutely valid and understandable because singing is so important to you. And that is amazing. And we don't want to take that away. I am never going to say like, oh, that's not even a problem. Why are you worried about that? That's dumb. That's not what I'm trying to say here. I'm trying to say you are in a place in your life and your singing that you have been a little out of practice. And the thing that you're thinking is a huge problem and that you're worried that you'll never get your voice back is something that we can cover in a couple months. I almost can promise you it is much more doable and much less permanent than your gremlin has built it up to be. So if that's a helpful thought for you, take it. If it's not, don't worry about it. But most of the time, the things that you're looking for are just going to come from doing it more often. Honestly, like range, that's a thing that just comes from stretching, right? When you're trying to build your range into the higher part of your chest voice and the higher part of your head voice, it's like 80% about use, right? Like how often do you use it? How often do you sing up there? Not a lot? Well, then your muscles are going to be pretty tight, understandably, right? So it's not something to judge yourself for or get down on yourself for because, oh, I failed. I lost that part of my voice. But it really is just about, okay, let's get back into it, right? It's very akin to if you get out of shape, if, you know, like during the pandemic, a lot of us couldn't do the gym stuff that we used to. So you get a little out of shape and then you take a break and then you come back and you're like, oh man, I am out of shape. I can't do as many push-ups as I used to. Cool. Is that you failing as a person? Are you really worried that your muscles are going to atrophy? No, you know, as a person who goes to the gym, that once you get back into the gym, give yourself a month or two, you'll start to feel that power and that strength come back again, right? Same thing in here. It's just these little teeny muscles, but we put so much physiological and psychological weight on them, you know, in many different circumstances. So what I'm trying to express to you is you absolutely are probably a better singer than you're thinking. It's not as objectively bad as you are thinking it is. That's what I'm trying to say. And it is very malleable. Your voice is very malleable. Even if you've had some vocal injury in the past, there are people who have rehabbed their voice from nothing back to something. There are people who have gotten polyps taken out and come back and had a regular voice. You know, all of this normal stuff is a part of your body, and your body can heal and it can stretch and it can change and it can find power where there wasn't power before. It can it all depends on how much thought and presence and effort and positive growth intention you put behind it. So if you never sing, if you only sing once a week in your lesson, you're probably going to find that you're not experiencing a lot of growth, right? Because the 6 days in between your lessons, you're not really using your muscles, right? There's no gains happening in the middle. And I hate talking about it like it's like powerlifting because it's absolutely not. It's a very different feel. But like the idea is the same. It's like if you don't use your voice in that way during the week, like speaking and singing are very different workouts for your voice. So if you speak all day, that's one thing. But if you never sing, you're only going to be using your voice in this little bit of it, right? In your speaking range. Oh, that thinks it's a heart. Cool. And you're never going to practice being up in the top of your chest voice, right? If that's where you're wanting to get more strength, you're not going to find it by just speaking all day. You know what I mean? You have to find yourself in the place that you want to improve more often. And the more often you do it, I'm not saying you have to do 2 hours. Please don't actually. Like 15 minutes maybe, a little bit every single day, or even every other day, can help. It really does stretch things, and it really does put a little bit of pressure on those parts of your voice so that you are finding the edge point for yourself. Like if you struggle with holding this one note for longer than half a second, that's fine. Hold it for half a second, but stay there at your edge. Don't shy away from it, right? You're not going to get better by never even attempting that note because you can't hold it for as long as you want to. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, totally. Singing along in the car with the radio is a great practice. That totally counts. But with some presence is really great. So if you're warming up before then, that's even better because you're actually thinking about certain notes that you're about to sing along with the car radio. If you are making sure to not go past your limits when you're singing along with certain songs, like there's plenty of like classic rock songs that like these really high-voiced people sang it originally, and you with your baritone voice is not really it's not really safe to try and hit those big you know, like Axl Rosy kind of notes, you know what I'm saying, without practice and training. And this is where a vocal coach comes in. Like we want to do things like slightly past your comfort level. Okay, let me help you do that safely and smartly, and help you remind yourself that you actually can do this, but maybe you are putting the pressure in the wrong place in your body, which is very often just trying to sing from here instead of bringing it into your abs. Like just try that today and tell me that half of your problems aren't fixed. Like Freddie Mercury, absolutely, 100%. Yes, normal people who are not aliens trying to sing Freddie Mercury, that can be painful. So there is a boundary line between thinking I can't do anything and not even trying, and trying stuff that is slightly at my edge, but not past my edge. Because when you do stuff that's past your edge, like singing Freddie Mercury and crazy high stuff past your limit, you're going to either, number one, hurt yourself and not be able to sing for a couple weeks, or number two, disappoint yourself and let your gremlin take over, and then you're just going to give yourself more evidence that you are a failure and you are bad, right? So the sweet spot is songs that push right up against your edge. Maybe there's one or two notes that feel a little challenging for you, but not the whole dang chorus. You know what I mean? So this is a very important thing for you to think about. Chances are the more you sing with a little support from somebody like me or whoever is a singer in your life, ask them for a little bit of advice, you know. How do I hit this note without hurting myself? I'm always here to help you on these lives too. If you have a specific question, like, hey, I'm trying to sing this song and this note, can we go through it on a live at some point? Happily, I'll happily do that. But if you want a little more support than that, I have programs for you to come into in January. So this is a very important thing I want you to know. I'm trying to learn rodeo by Garth Brooks. Oh, cool, love that. The thing that you're looking for is probably on the other side of the discomfort you have with just singing more often and singing more in the place that you're trying to get to comfort in. So if you're trying to get to comfort in your high register, in your head voice, your Disney princess voice, you gotta sing up there more often, because that tightness is not gonna go away magically with something I say to you, right? You don't have to have thousands of dollars for vocal lessons. You just have to be willing to sit in the suck for a while. I usually call it sitting in the muck, but that's kind of, it's another way to do it. Because everybody's afraid of sucking. Nobody wants to suck. Nobody wants to sound bad. But the great part about this is you don't have to sound bad in front of other people. Find a safe place to give yourself the sandbox time to suck, you know, and play around with it. Take all the pressure of being perfect and exact and pretty off of yourself. I know that's easier said than done for us perfectionists. I feel you. I'm right there with you. Yeah, everyone's afraid to bomb. It's a natural human thing. So give yourself a space where it is safe to do that, where it is safe to play around and mess up and try things. Because the sound that you're looking for is on the other side of this block that you've created with yourself that, oh, I can't even attempt that because I'm not going to make it. Or it's the, I just keep pushing and I keep not making it, I'm doing it wrong. It's on the other side of the willing to fail, you know? So you have to connect with that willing to fail within yourself. And remember what you would say to a little kid, you know? They try to do a flip on a trampoline. What do you say to them? Okay, you did a great job. You tried. Let's come back tomorrow. Try again, right? I will help you. I'm here to support you and to spot you. You have to not overdo it, though, because that's where you're going to hurt yourself. And you did a great job. I'm so proud of you. You're not going to tell them, no, that sucked. You better not ever try that again, right? You have to watch how you talk to yourself, too, because there's a little kid in there that just wants to sing and not be told that they suck every time. You know? Yeah, gotta suck sometimes. That is the key. That's really the magic. It's so much of the magic, but so many of us have built up all these heavy layers of perfectionism and needing to do it right and well and never share anything less than polished with anybody else. Yeah, it's a really big issue in our society that because of American Idol and The Voice and all of these things, they really start to weigh on us and say, in our heads, they contribute to that gremlin voice and they say, yeah, you're not going to sound like you want to. You're not going to sound like Adele. You're going to mess up like that one person on American Idol did. And then look at how embarrassing that was for them. You're not in front of millions of people right now. My goodness. Like, give yourself some grace. Give yourself some space to mess up and to make sounds. Be silly like you are with your kids. Like, it's just incredibly important to foster that environment of play with yourself, because the control that you're looking for, the big high notes that you're looking for, the range extension that you're looking for, the breath support that you're looking for, your body's going to find that, but only if you allow yourself to fail and experiment and do it 1,000 times, and then your body will learn what that feels like. This is the reason there's so many self-taught singers out there, right? Vocal coaches, I'm not necessary. I'm a luxury. I'm aware of that. You can do all this work yourself. I promise you. Just some people really like to have that deep support, and that's what I'm here for, and I love to do that for people. Yeah, totally. It's really hard to watch like teenagers start to go through that process of the building the shell up around them, around their voice. So the more you can foster the play and making silly sounds and doing silly voices with them, I think will help keep that alive. Hopefully. I don't know. I'm not a parent, so I feel for you, but it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. So just keep that in mind. You can do this work for yourself. You don't need me, but I'm here if you want me to help you. Like I said, I'm always open for suggestions of topics to do on here. Always happy to work with you in whatever way you can. And keep in mind, yes, it's like painting. People want to replicate, but uniqueness sets people apart. Yeah, I love that. Exactly. You have a beautiful, unique voice already. Keep leaning into that. Your body knows what to do with that already. Just keep fostering that. Yeah, and keep in mind that I have a group program opening in January. It's my Vocal Magic, but it'll be a new and improved reboot. Hopefully a little more accessible, allowing a little more number of people in, but I promise it will be just as community focused and intimate, cohort minded. And I'm really excited about it. I'm super stoked. I have a little more logistics to do until I release that, until I open the doors, but I don't know yet. That's what I have to figure out, what times the group sessions. Chances are it'll kind of be a variety. That's what I'm thinking, to kind of cover everybody's schedule, because that's always the hardest part is planning everybody's schedule. So yeah, keep that in mind. If you want to get on the wait list, if you want to be the first ones to hear, I got a thing up in the thing. So you can be the first on my list, and then you get also my free warm-ups to practice with. So 2 bonuses in the same little package. I live in Hawaii, so I'm actually 6 hours, soon to be 5 hours behind East Coast. So it'll be during the day for me, but probably evenings for most people. Go to the thing in the thing. Yes, thank you. Happy to have you here. Thank you so much for listening as always, and lots of love to you all, and I'll see you soon.